Well, it's Monday morning. It's the day after that abysmal performance by the Steelers against the Houston Texans, man. And I don't feel any different. All honesty, I feel worse. I am just so frustrated with this organization from top to bottom, from coaching to the defense to the offense to everything, man. I mean, the only positives we had yesterday were from Brad Wing and Najee Harris getting the run game going later on in the game. That was the only positives we had. I'm just so frustrated just with this organization and this team as a whole right now. So the reason I'm making this video is because obviously we all know Kenny Pickett went out of the game yesterday with a knee injury. Adam Schefter reported this morning that the Steelers are optimistic about his injury. It sounds like it's not an ACL injury, but he's going to get an MRI later on today to confirm, but they're thinking it's more of like MCL. And they're saying basically that if it's MCL and it's not a season-ending injury, obviously, then he should at least be out for 4 weeks. So during that time, Mitch Trubisky will be under center. So the conversation I want to have is, what happens if Mitch and or Mason, depending on how Mitch plays, goes out there and starts winning games? The offense starts clicking, the run game gets going, we start scoring more than 14 points, more than one touchdown a game. We didn't even have a touchdown yesterday, man. What happens when our offense starts playing well without Kenny Pickett? What happens when Mitch goes out there, starts lighting it up and plays good? What happens if Mitch plays terrible and Mason goes out there and starts lighting it up? When Kenny is cleared to come back, do we bench whoever's playing and put Kenny back in? In my honest opinion, no. In my honest opinion, the whole Kenny Pickett experiment is over. It's done. You spend a first-round draft pick on the guy, and he's played for 16 total games. We've seen enough on him. When you draft a first-round pick, you know pretty quickly if he's got it or he doesn't. And from what I've seen personally and from what others have seen, Kenny just doesn't have it. He does not have the ability to allow plays to develop. He's always looking for the check down. When he does throw the deep ball, especially like yesterday and some other instances, he's underthrowing the ball. He's getting antsy. And even like that fourth down where he got hurt yesterday, he ran right into that defender. He rolled out of a pocket that still hadn't closed yet. If you go back and watch the tape, that was not on Broderick Jones. That was on Kenny Pickett rolling out and running right into the defender. There's been so many throws that I look at him and go, what are you doing? You're throwing it to the sideline you want to throw it out of bounds, but you don't at the same time. So you're going to kind of throw it towards your receiver who's double covered and almost get picked off for a pick six. I'm done with Kenny. I love the guy, and I think that he would be a great backup in this league. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem having him sit somewhere and just being a solid backup in the NFL. But the Kenny Pickett experiment, in my opinion, is done. It's done. We wasted a first-round pick on him that we could have easily used on bolstering our offensive line or our defensive line, something more useful. But the Steelers wanted that hometown story. They saw a kid in Kenny Pickett who's right across the door, who only had one good season, and that was during COVID time. He's not our guy, guys. He's not. And I will stick to that until proven otherwise. And if either Mitch or Mason, because it's possible both play, especially if Mitch comes out there and doesn't perform like we expect him to, especially as a veteran and a backup QB, they got to put Mason in there, and they got to see what they got in Mason, because if If they don't have a quarterback in any of these guys, then we got to blow this whole thing up. We got to blow this whole thing up. And don't get me wrong, I am on the fire Matt Canada train. But we know Mike Tomlin. He likes the lip service. He likes telling us what we want to hear. He said in his post-press conference yesterday that, hell yeah, we're going to make changes. He's not going to fire Matt Canada. He would have done it in the offseason. We all know Mike Tomlin too well to think that he's just going to fire Matt Canada mid-season. I mean, honestly, now's the time. We go see Baltimore, and then we're on our bye. So if you want to pick up somebody as an offensive coordinator from the outside, please don't quit elevating people from inside the organization. We need outside people at this point. But if you're going to fire Matt Canada, you got to do it now. But I don't think he will. I mean, I'll be shocked if he does. I'll be impressed. I'll be happy if he does, but it's not going to happen. Because Mike Tomlin's just all lip service. So in my opinion right now, you got to see what you got in your backup quarterbacks. You got to see if there's something there, because if there's not, then we have a big problem. A big problem. And I'm not saying it's all on the quarterback, because the play calling has been abysmal as well. But good quarterbacks can overcome bad play calling. They can. So we got to see what we got in these guys. And who knows, Mitch might go out there and ball out. He might win us games until Kenny is cleared to come back. And when Kenny is cleared to come back, don't do that. Don't do this whole thing where we switch back and forth. Kenny has not shown at all this season, with it, other than a couple great passes, touchdown passes, that he is our future. And we can't give him 2, 3, 4 years and say, oh, he hasn't had enough time yet. Not when you spend a first-round draft pick on this guy. That's not how you handle this situation. That is not how you handle this situation. And there's so many people on the internet, oh, well, he hasn't had enough time yet. We have given him a full year. A full year. And granted, I understand that it's been behind a terrible offensive coordinator. However, it's not all on Matt Canada too, because he's called some good games. And I don't like the guy. But it's everything right now. It's on Matt Canada. It's on Tomlin. It's on Kenny Pickett. We're not even talking about the defense right now. Because in my eyes too, the defense can't do much when they're exhausted from being on the field for 90% of the snaps. When your offense just goes 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, interception, 3 and out, 3 and out. That's not how this works. And yeah, the defense needs to get a whole lot better, but be helpful if they got some rest for more than 2 minutes at a time. My whole point on this thing is, while Kenny Pickett is out, we need to see what we got in Mitch and Mason. If Mitch can't play well, then we need to see what we got in Mason. And then if both guys are just stinking up the joint, then we got to blow this whole thing up. We got to blow it all up. Because we're going to be the Browns and spend years upon years upon years trying to find another quarterback when we're wasting prime TJ Watt, prime Mika Fitzpatrick, prime George Pickens, prime Pat Freiermuth, prime Washington, Darnell Washington. We are wasting time. And before you know it, we are going to be in full rebuild mode for the next 5 years. And it's going to be a bumpy ride. A bumpy ride. We got to get this figured out now, and we got to get it figured out fast. We are better than this as an organization. And we got to get it together now. Yes, we're 2-2, but we should be 0-4, honestly. We should be 0-4, honestly. If the Browns would have handled the game better, and if the Raiders would have handled the game better, we would have lost both of those games, and we would be sitting 0-4 at the bottom of the division, below Cincinnati. So now is the time, Mike Tomlin and Steelers organization. You need to figure out what you got in Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph. You need to open the playbook completely. Let these guys go out there and see what they've got completely. Because we really need to figure this stuff out now and quick. Along with Matt Canada. But that should have been done in the offseason. And I feel as though now Mike Tomlin is going to ride this ship till the end with the decision to keep Matt Canada. I will be surprised if they fire him. If they let him go. I will be surprised. But it goes back to my point. If and when Kenny Pickett is cleared to come back, and both either Mitch or Mason are playing good, and our offense is winning games, and our defense is playing better because they're actually getting rest on the sidelines instead of playing 90% of the snaps, you don't put Kenny Pickett back in there. You don't. That ship sailed. That experiment's done. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. That's how I feel. We got to see what we got in these other guys. And if that doesn't work, we got to blow this whole thing up. Along with getting rid of Matt Canada at some point. But I just don't see it happening during the season. I don't. Post your comments down below. Like and subscribe. I'll try to post more of these videos throughout the week and throughout the rest of the season. I hope you all have a great Monday. Take care, Steeler Nation.